Hi, welcome back to the garden. Today is Thursday, April 20th. Ticks are climbing up to get a hold of things. They can be on your water buckets, they can be in your grass, they can drop right out of the trees. Today's greenhouse talk, threats in the garden. They're still saying that it's going to get cold starting tomorrow night. We're going to have a couple chilly mornings. And this is not really a threat, this is sort of my own making. I'm going to take a couple of these lower leaves off. We've got some beets coming up in here that I'm shading out. And that is a threat, actually. Planting a little too close, getting a little too eager, but it won't hurt this plant at all. And we can eat these leaves, and these leaves are beautiful. And I might have to take a lettuce leaf or two while we're at it. That is wonderful. Well, I think that kind of opens it up. But let's go ahead and talk about some real garden threats. Well, there's three other great big scourges of the garden. One, looking at the cabbage leaves, you've got the cabbage mothworm. The moth cabbage worm, cabbage mothworm, Bacillus thuringiensis, BT. It's non-toxic, and when those little worms hatch, they get a belly full of it, and that's it for them. And that's on the list to take care of just as soon as this cold front goes through. There's two or three other things that are really hard on the garden. The Japanese beetle is kind of pretty. It's shiny green, but it will gnaw the heck out of your stuff. But they're big enough I can pick those off and drop them in a bucket of soapy water, and that takes care of it. Same with the adult squash bugs, but they try to get out of hand. Now the one you really got to worry about is the vine borer. And we're going to try something this year. We'll let you know when we get that far. And then in our area, we've got blister beetles. And the only thing I have to work on that is neem oil and a few drops of Dawn dishwashing soap. And that seems to take care of that. It's a spot spray, and I'm not spraying the whole garden. Now down south, you got fire ants, and I feel for you. But there are tons of threats. We just know they're there, and we protect against them. You can do this too. And one of the things I found in the deep mulch garden is we kept a lot of things alive that normally wouldn't have overwintered. I mean, you've seen the grasshoppers, they feasted all winter long. And this moth that the cats are playing with, they lay the eggs that make the tomato hornworm. Even though it looks like we're still going to get a little bit of cold, the critters are getting ready to start feasting. If you have slugs, there's a really good benign slug bait. Doesn't hurt the soil, doesn't hurt the animals, and we use that to pretty good success. You can put out beer traps, but I'd be careful what kind of beer you put in them. In a former life, I had pretty good success with parasitic wasps to take care of houseflies. That was around the barns. And I know that there are some parasitic wasps you can get. I haven't tried them for the garden. We may look into that. But one of the predators that I do like is the praying mantis. And I did order some the other day. It takes them a little while to hatch. Give them a little bit of head start. And of course, that's why we don't want to use any kind of pesticides out here. Our pollinators. And we want this arugula to go to seed. That moth right there lays the tomato hornworm eggs. And then again, we've got a beautiful butterfly pollinating the onions. But then we got the four-legged kind, all the way down to the little voles that look like house mouse with the short tail, or the moles, which are in here to eat worms, or the groundhogs that like to eat all of it, or the deer that like to eat even more of it. You got to take precautions. That's why we put up a hot wire. It definitely keeps the raccoons and the rabbits out. I've seen a possum get through it. I've seen that groundhog get through it. But we also put out Irish Spring soap, and that seems to keep the deer at bay. So we'll see what we get. Right now, it's those little voles that I'm worried about, but I haven't seen any evidence of them lately since we've been treating really heavy with the castor oil. And gardening will test your patience. Everything out here wants to eat. And I want them to eat, just not at my table. Now, I have given quite a few of these away already, but I still got a ton. I got more than I can put in my garden, but I have a couple more people that are going to take some tomorrow. And the very worst part about it is, I want to plant. Just a couple more days, I think, and we'll see what we get. I want to thank you for coming by the greenhouse and talking about some threats of the garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.